Wow. Are we going live tonight? Did anybody expect this? Well, I shouldn't. So glad that you're here. If you do me a favor, go in the chat right now and let me know if you can hear everything okay. We got a great show tonight. And I am very happy that you are here. Welcome to the program, or show, if you don't like me using the word program. This is how I do the audio because I don't know what I'm doing. But I take a look at the look in the corners there, huh? I learned how to do some text. I'm taking this live stream to a whole other level tonight. So much to get into. So much to get into. Check out that thumbnail while I say hi to everybody in the live stream, which I hope that you are there. And I hope you have subscribed.
The 8 immortal kings of
and
Samaria.
I hope that you are having the best day ever. Looking good, sounding good. Thank you, Wakey Wakey. Let me know if the music's a little too loud or if it's a little too soft. I want everything to be. Hang on a second. Let me get. I want everything to be perfect for you tonight. Everything. So if the music's too loud, you gotta let me know. But hey, I feel like it's a Friday, even though it's a Tuesday. Is it a Tuesday or is it a Monday? I don't even know. Working from home, who knows? So much to talk about today. Are you excited about the news? How much crazy stuff is going on right now? How proud are you to be an American? Oh, good grief. All right. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about Elon Musk. We're going to throw in some Trump. We're going to throw in some Wizard of Oz. We got so much to get into. And yet another revelation of what this trident is. What is going on? And what does it have to do with the wackadoo? That's all I got to say. All right. This is in the news right now. Take a look at this. Trump saying that he would flat out let Trump back onto Twitter. Thinks the whole thing is kind of silly. 100% going to give him a voice back. Because that's what the people want. People want the Trumpster back. They want a hero. They want somebody to believe in. Someone who's going to stand up for the Lord. Oh, it's a good time to be alive. And Elon Musk is that guy too, remember? He even on the Babylon Bee said that, sure, he'll be saved. I'll be saved. Why not? Why not? What a show. Okay, last couple of programs, if you haven't been watching, for whatever reason, I've been talking about the Wizard of Oz. A lot of things connected, Donald Trump endorsing Oz, at the rally speaking, MAGA. You know what MAGA means? Look it up. I'll just say 5th degree MAGA. What is that in Google? Just look it up. Or watch my shows that I did on Donald Trump. Here, you know what? I'll show you. Because now I can do stuff like that. I'll actually even show you what the video looked like. If I can pull it up. Or maybe I'll do it a little bit later. These are it's a little too much for me to do. I'm just getting back into the live streams again. Got to get back on the yellow brick road, if you will. What is this? Strange yellow brick road discovered at the bottom of the ocean. Scientists. They shared it online. Some people say it is the road to Atlantis. Very interesting that we would have the yellow brick road being discovered. What was that day? Does that say May 10th? That's the news. I think it was like yesterday or the day before. We're talking about the Wizard of Oz. And then all of a sudden they discover the yellow brick road. Which makes sense, right? Why wouldn't it make sense? We're talking about these things right now. This is what the thumbnail is all about. There is no place like home, that is for sure. Now, if you look at the left-hand corner right there, those are some handmaids. And I'd like to point out, I don't usually get to do this when I create these little thumbnails, but these thumbnails, they mean something to me. I try to always give a little bit of a lesson in there. You know, I like to kind of show you what I'm showing you. Back in the background there, you see the Emerald City. There's no place like home, because Dorothy's home, well, let's just say Dorothy's home and everything, it was tore up. It was tore up in a tornado. Her home went bye-bye. And then she was, transported to Oz, the Emerald City. That's the way out. And it seems like that's the way out today, considering Elon made his fortune in emerald mines. There's a connection between the Donald Trumpster and Elon Musk, if you know, had to do with his uncle. His uncle had a lot to do with Tesla. Was kind of the guy that showed up and kind of like took all the stuff. This is Donald Trump's uncle. I think his name's John Trump. I didn't put this in this show today, but I'm just letting you know. There is a connection between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Some people say that Baron Trump may be a time traveler because they got books and everything else. Whatever. That's not the point of today's show. But I want to show you that there's a lot of connection between Elon Musk, Tesla, and Donald Trump. Here he's pictured as almost if he's the Emerald City himself. And I guess that would make Donald Trump the Great Oz, considering he was just endorsing Oz. Now, I'm going somewhere with all this, so you gotta hang on. In the news just recently, the Wizard of Oz dress. I want you to pay attention to those numbers right there, 1.5 million. I've been talking to Alex, or watching too many of his shows. Now he's got me all focused on the 15, the 1.5, the 1.5 here, the 1.5 there. If you don't know anything about Alex, I may even give him a call, because he answers me like right away. I may put him on the air. He had his like dental work today, but he sees the 1.5 everywhere. So while I'm loading this show, I'm like, hey, I got to send this picture to Alex, because here we are, another 15. The Wizard of Oz dress. The garment of Dorothy in dispute. There's a big eclipse on the 15th. I don't know if you knew about it. Flower moon, blood moon. Happened last year too. I'm not that excited about the days to come in the world, but spiritually this is good stuff. So the Wizard of Oz dress, the Wizard of Oz road, all of this stuff, very much spiritual and prophetic in nature, I believe, but nothing compares to this. Nick Schultz sent this to me because he's been watching the show. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, hey, if you haven't, you should subscribe. Just hit the button. It's right where right over there, right down there. Just hit that button. There's a little red thing, and you can subscribe right now. And then you can talk in the live chat. I'm going to get to all you in a little while. Okay, I got to lay the groundwork first. So thank you for those of you who are contributing. If you are, if you aren't, it doesn't matter. I'm just glad you're here. Hit the like, will you? Okay, so he pays attention because he's subscribed. And on the last couple of shows, I talked about Elon Musk, and he put out tweets. One of his tweets was about this, per aspera ad astra. And on the last show, if you haven't seen it, you should. We explained, and by we, I mean me, because there's nobody else here but me. I just want to point that out. It's just me. One-man show here. Through the thorns, you get to the stars. It's kind of like, if you want to become heavenly, you're going to suffer. So the timing of his tweet, very significant. Now, this tied in to everything I was talking about. And I thought it was beautiful, but I had no clue, because I was talking about the Wizard of Oz as well, that there was a connection between the Wizard of Oz and Elon Musk's quote. What? How is this connected to the Wizard of Oz? Well, let's take a look at what my buddy Nick Schultz said. Wizard of Oz, the bee, fleur-de-lis. People like to pronounce it fleur-de-lis. I like to pronounce it fleur-de-lis. I don't care if it's wrong. I say things wrong because I'm a meatball. Common ground, Kansas. I like how Nicholas, or Nick, I don't know if it's Nicholas, but Nick, I like the way he emails. Gives me little bullet points. Ad astra per astra. Wizard of Oz. The bee. Common ground. Kansas. The state slogan is ad astra per astra. What? 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 I'm calling Elon Musk Emerald City and Donald Trump kind of like the wizard. Look up what the fifth degree of MAGA means, okay? Or watch my show on Donald Trump, the Trump paradox, and all of that stuff, so you understand the significance of this. I even have a whole show where in the thumbnail I have Donald Trump looking like he's the wizard. I'll show you, because I said that the day was coming. Just like I said he was not going to win. Just like I said not to go out to this big thing and get involved in this whole January 6th thing, because it was probably a setup. Just like I said one day he'd be restored to glory. And here we are. Elon Musk saying, come on back, Trumpster. Promoting Truth Social, because it's all about the truth. Got to watch that show if you haven't seen it, the last one that I just did. But the fact that I'm talking about the Wizard of Oz and the quote that Elon put up, and it's connected to the Wizard of Oz, that it is literally, oh, this is crazy. Take a look at this. That's the seal of Kansas. What's that say right there? Ad astra per aspera. How crazy is that? I find that quite peculiar, don't you? Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the live chat. I'm going to go check as I put the graphic over. Watch. Okay, now I'm coming into the chat. That's strange, right? Don't you find it strange? I find it strange. Like, what are the odds that I'm talking about the Wizard of Oz and I'm talking about him making that, and then here it is. There's the connection. But that's not all. Lower class citizen says suspect. That's right. Miss May says not in Kansas anymore. That's right, Miss May. You got to follow that yellow brick road, just like Charlie says. Yes. And I'm going to get into that. Pretty amazing, huh? Pretty amazing how this is all coming together. Very interesting to me. Gonna have a little tea. My throat's starting to hurt a little bit. I'm so happy you're all here. I really like doing the live shows. A little more pressure. I don't want anything to, go wrong. I don't want to do anything silly. I don't want anybody to think that I'm a goofball or anything else, Ironically, I'm going to be talking about the dragon in a little while. I guess Elon left his puppet here. His dragon, SpaceX dragon puppet. Okay, Emerald City. May the 15th, we got an eclipse. Donut's crazy about the 1-5. I'll go with it. May 15th is this eclipse. On the show, you know that I'm a big fan of those numbers 1111. The eclipse is happening at that time. Very cool. Very cool. Weirder still, we're talking about the Green Man, the green horse of the apocalypse, and Emerald City. And guess what? Emerald is the birthstone for this month. It's very strange to me. I've been so focused on all of this stuff having to do with green. And here we are. Here we are. It's like right in our face in the month of May. Very strange to me, but very exciting at the same time. You got to tell me what you think. Do you think there's a connection? I think there's a connection. But we're going to go a little bit further, okay? Because I think it's peculiar that it's at 11:11. There you have it, right there. That's the time. 11:11. Interesting. You got this blood moon, this flower moon, going down at 11:11 p.m. over Kansas, of all places. We're not in Kansas anymore. No, we are not. A lot of people singing Elon's praises. He's a man of God. He's going to deliver us all. I don't know the guy's heart. I don't know. I just know that there is things that seem to be a little suspect. I see things like what's going on right now with the leaked documents over this major Supreme Court case. You know what I'm talking about. It has to do with babies. And I think to myself, just as they tore the statues down, and just as they started to do things like attack this or attack that, and then I look at these statues and I think, well, that was a slave owner, and that was maybe these statues, maybe these things that we put our faith in, maybe these heroes, maybe these idols that we've put before God. Maybe God's saying, time to go. I talked about a lot of this when there were the riots and everything else. And I said, well, maybe you ever wonder if maybe there's a reason why the churches were shut down? Maybe the churches aren't teaching the truth. Maybe just because they're big endorsers of Truth Social, and they'll even have the Trumpster come and speak at that church as well. Does that mean that they are for the gospel? Does that mean that they represent the Lord? Or are they part of the religious system? Are they part of the world? Do they not know God? Do they hate people that are different? And if that's the case, then if persecution then comes and we call it out as being something that's terrible, is God not in charge of all things? Because I believe that any kind of vandalism or violence or anything, I think it's horrible. Tearing down this, tearing down that, I am not a fan. But yet it's happening. And it continues to happen. We see more and more corruption being revealed. We see more and more of our leaders being shown to be absolutely corrupt. You know, on this show, I've for a long time talked about the laptop and the this. Well, it's all going to come out. But what if it's all part of the plan? So that when this corruption and this big fraud that has been perpetrated on all of you, all of us, and if you've been here for a while, you know that I've been saying this is going to happen. So when that is revealed and you want to get angry and you want to choose a side, perhaps you shouldn't. Because perhaps it's all part of the show. All part of that show. All part of that division. So, I am concerned about May 15th. Not May 15th in general. I don't know if anything's going to happen on that date. I just do find it strange that we have this here. I do find it strange that May is the Emerald Month. I do find it strange that all of this is going down now. More concerned for what's going to happen in September, but let's just leave it at that. I get concerned when I start seeing tweets like this that Elon puts out. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of this. Somebody basically threatened him, said, oh, you're going to be held accountable even though you played a part of the fool. Elon's response, quite strange. quite strange. I'm going to blow it up so you can just read it. Almost kind of like agreeing. There are no angels in war. Sad, right? War is not a good thing. And then he puts out the fact that he's worried that he may, under mysterious circumstances, be put down. So that what he's putting out there, just so you know, this is what we call a red herring, maybe? No, maybe that's not the word. I'm not looking for the word. I don't want to say predictive programming. It's kind of like you're putting it out there in the ethos, if you will. He just brought up an attempt, an assassination attempt. And that's what I was concerned about happening. That something like this would happen because that would spark something. But, I mean, there's so many things to be concerned about. So who's to know? But by putting this out there, it's suspect. Now, a lot of people sent this to me. I already saw this. Muhammad responded and said, "You won't die before your day." I agree. And I believe everything happens exactly as God plans. Anyhow, you are/were a unique figure in this world. You were. I don't know why he put past tense in there. I'm only wondering one thing. As a genius, there you go again. Everybody calling him a genius. You're a good guy. You're a genius. He's a good guy. When I'm Babylon B, he said he would be saved. He's a good guy. He's a genius. Even though he tells you, look, there's no angels in war. I think he's aware. I mean, look, he has covered the globe with surveillance. And the globe is covered by him. How did this happen? How did the world say, okay, you're the guy? Emerald City. The dragon, SpaceX Dragon, gives power to the one of the heads of the beast that seems to be wounded, but wasn't really wounded, and is restored. So he says, as a genius, haven't you found out yet there's a great creator in this world? If you did, make sure you confess this before your last heartbeat. Bless you. And then Elon Musk, of course, his response has a lot of people wondering. Because didn't you think he was a good guy? Didn't you think he was a Christian deep down, right? Didn't you think he was? But here he's saying on May 9th, thank you for your blessing, but I'm okay with going to hell. If that's indeed my destination. Since, get this, since the vast majority of all humans ever born will be there. Now, I have a show on hell. Let me pull this up so you can take a look at this because, it's not what you've been told. He's right when he says a vast amount of people here. Like right now, the word hell, the underworld, Sheol, the place of the dead, this is the place of the dead. Just so you know. And a vast amount of human beings right now are in hell. Right now, and they need to be delivered from it. So he's correct, but it's not what you think. And so when he's saying, I'm okay with going to hell, if that's my destination, since the vast majority of humans ever born will be there. It's like a definite will be there. And what if they're trying to keep them there? That's a question I have. I don't think that's going to be the case because there's an end to the story. God's in control. He created all of this. But let me show you just, I'm going to pull this up. Let me pull this over. Let me go to my, right over here. Hey, look at that. That's me. That's you in the chat right there. Thank you very much for coming. Let me pull up my channel quick. And I'll just show you some of these. Okay, so this was the show that I was just talking about right here. What is truth? You'll notice I've been talking quite a bit. Right here, you'll notice a couple weeks ago, I was talking about how persecution was about to start with the church, like in a big way. Right here, that was 2 weeks ago. You watched the show. If you didn't, you can watch it. This is almost 3 weeks ago. Pandora's box, I said, was about to be unleashed. I said everything's going to get... Mayhem is coming, like in a short period of time. Mayhem's coming, and it's here already. Very strange times that we're in. But I have a YouTube channel. You know, you should subscribe. I have a show on hell and what it really means. Somewhere here, I did it years and years and years and years ago. But you should go and check it out, you know. Sometimes, unfortunately, Google censors me, so it makes it hard for me to find my videos very easily. Just look it up. Hell Revealed, I believe, is the name of it. I'll just try. Let's see. See if it comes. There you go. Hell's Not What You Think. That's my old set. I had that set for years. It's in my my dining room. Hell is not what you think. So whatever Elon's saying, I don't want you to get too stressed out about it. But I would be concerned about what's going on in the world. I do find it strange that the yellow brick road was just discovered. All of this stuff is very interesting. The fact that Kansas is that's the state motto, and the state, it's the bumblebee, and we're talking about the bee. We're talking about the fleur-de-lis, or lys, the way I like to say it. The trident. Oh my goodness. One of you sent me an email about the trident in the wackadoo. I couldn't find, I don't know how I lost this email, but whoever you are, I owe you an apology, because I'm going to be talking about this and it's just bizarre to me. And I thought I cracked the trident on the last show. You know, we've been seeing the trident everywhere, and you see that fleur-de-lis everywhere, and everywhere's the bumblebee, and there's the hive mind, and all this stuff that's all connected to the, the enlightened ones with the pyramids and the eyes. But there's a trident in the wackadoo. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to get there. But let's talk about some other things that Elon is okay with and that he's tweeting about. So a little while ago, I started telling everybody that what if this whole thing with the leak, with the babies, what if it's about the fact that the population's been going like this? And things are going to get worse because of fertility things. What if they're like some people that are trying to cull the population, and other people are like, oh, you went too far. We messed up. Now we gotta course correct before it's out of control. Well, Elon Musk has been one of the people that has been very, very loud and clear saying that the world can suit as many people as possible, and that we need more people. He came under fire just like the other day for basically saying Japan's going to go extinct. It's not going to exist anymore because the fertility there is just not doing well at all. Like, not even a little bit. And of course, people took issue with it. They were upset that he would say such a thing, even though he may be telling the truth. I did a little bit of research in this. It turns out that yes, there's a big issue. It's a big issue. I think since I didn't put it in in this show, but I believe since like 1997, maybe, population has gone down 22%. Last year, whatever. It's gone down like another, 9% or 3%? Something crazy. Like, population is not doing well at all. Let's just put it that way. Like, right now, not the best. So I'm thinking, that's what you would do, right? if you were going to have a problem with population, what if the Georgia Guidestone people, they went too far and other people are trying to course correct? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. That's the thing today. What is truth? It's not what we make it. Only God reveals what the truth is. And I don't know. For all I know, I'm like in the Truman Show and there's not billions of people. I don't know. What do I know? Think about this. It's a thought experiment. So his tweet about this, and then of course me being goofy and saying, as I said, you see, I was right. Elon's tweeting about it. Could this be the reason? Is it going to get so bad that Handmaid's Tale may be becoming like a reality? Is that like even close to possible? A couple of years ago, go figure, I did shows about where I thought that would be the case. I kind of saw it coming. And why did I see it coming? Well, I saw it coming because I remember that opening scene in Handmaid's Tale. That opening scene, and it was spooky. There was like a protest, and they were protesting someone that would have been sort of like Trump. And at one point, they just started opening fire. And all the people that were really gross and living a sinful life in their eyes, they became slaves. And it's a horrible show. It's on Hulu. I mean, it's a great show. Horrible premise. And that's why you saw on the cover, my thumbnail, you saw them in the corner. That was them at a protest just recently in front of a church. Seems like, perhaps I was correct in saying that the churches would start to see great persecution. It's only just begun. But the protesters, it's in Handmaid's Tale in the first episode, that always struck me. And I felt like, I remember telling Danielle, I said, I bet you that's coming down the road. I bet you that, because I could see that coming. Because if you want a one world government, you'd have to have a dictator at the helm. So you'd have to have dictators in every country. You'd have to. That's the only way to make it work. Even Donald Trump and other leaders have said that. Donald Trump actually said, he goes, maybe you need a dictator. He even made a joke. I talked about this on another show. He even made a joke where he said, we were testing my IQ and I'm a genius. I'm the smartest guy on the planet, basically. And that's good. And, and then they called me a dictator. And he goes, well, I don't know. I'd rather be a dictator than be dumb. I mean, a dictator is just somebody who says, this is what we got to do. So, I mean, maybe dictators of the past have gotten a bad rep. Maybe being a dictator is not a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing. I think that it would be better for people to kind of agree, come together on on terms. But today, who knows? So I kind of fear that that's what's coming. I kind of told everybody this. Even remember Donald put out that video. It was like a tweet with the that song, and it was like he's a president for life, and you just see year after year after year. It was a very cool video. I've shared it again and again, like a joke, like I'm going to be president for life, right? They presented him as Napoleon. They presented him as Caesar. They presented him as, the emperor ruler, the guy. And then in one instant, right? It seemed like it was so unfair, but not before these tax policies were put in place, which, by the way, they're going away in a couple of years. I don't know. The tax breaks that we got, I think only last like 5 years for the people that are in my category, which is not the wealthy category. Look into it. I'm not an economist. You don't take any advice here. This is speculation and me just trying to entertain you. I winked because I'm trying to inspire you, really. It's what I'm trying to get you to do. So there's a concern. The Handmaid's Tale thing. So I did shows. I did shows about this. I'll see if I can pull this up for you. Switch over to display capture. Hopefully I did this right. and I can show you some of these videos. I know I did them a while ago. I did one just recently as well. I think I threw when the inauguration happened. I said this would be the beginning. Oh, right there. See, there you go. The Wizard of Us. The Wizard of Us. Ironically, 6 months ago, 60,000 views. I did not do that on purpose. I have no control. When we had the inauguration, that was it was a big deal. That actually, if you look at the thumbnail, may the odds be in your favor. If you take a look at that, that's from Hunger Games. If you remember the movie Hunger Games, it was really kind of about an assault on the Capitol. So it's quite ironic that you had all that. And there we see, of course, the mockingbird, birds being a big deal, birds in a gilded cage. That little girl right there, she's a poet, and she was given a gilded birdcage ring that she wore. But there you go, right in between the Bidens. You got The Handmaid's Tale, and of course you got martial law. And you got more. This right here was discovered, and there was a rod that was missing, the measuring rod. And I said, judgment. We're going to get there's a lot of judgment. A lot of judgment that's coming. But, listen, it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, especially for us. If you remember, I talked about this in the last show where I just flipped through the Bible randomly and opened up to the end time harvest, which I'm a little upset. I'll be honest, before I did this show, I went outside and I've been bummed out. The fig tree doesn't look like it's alive. Fig tree looks that it was so beautiful and so big. I didn't care for it again this year. I didn't care for it the year before. Just kind of like left it up in the God's hands. Doesn't seem to be sprouting any leaves. And I'm a little concerned. And then when I was leaving the house, I was reminded of, just because the fruit's not on the tree now, don't tear that tree up. Dung it. Throw some, fertilizer on it. That's what I plan on doing. I'm going to throw some fertilizer. I'm going to clip some I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a gardener, but I'm going to clip some stuff. I'm going to do a YouTube video or two. I'm going to read about it, learn about it, and I'm going to try to make things better. Hopefully after it is agitated, hopefully after it suffers at my hands, the hands of the gardener, it will produce some fruit. That should be a lesson for you. For crying out loud, will you please? Will you please? Who wants to go through trouble? So the leaked document's a big deal. And of course, I put out on May 6th, do you think that maybe because of infertility, that's the reason? I think it's a possibility. I'm not saying that that's the case. I think it's a possibility. Not to mention, there's some talk about getting rid of right now. You may not be able to have birth control a couple places. Because I said, if that's the case, that would be the next logical step. You want more babies. Because you're really looking at, if this is something that you can't get a hold of, you are looking at probably the end of the human race. If you can't have babies, you can't, it's going to be kind of a bummer for, my kids. I'm 51. I mean, we want to have, we want the planet to be in great shape. We want our children to be in great shape. We want to do that, right? We shouldn't be, killing our children anyway. It's kind of like, which makes me think, maybe the reason there's infertility is because people have been doing this. See what I mean? It's kind of like God saying you're not supposed to do it. So this is what's going to happen. And the people that some people say are, good godly people going to restore free speech and do all that. When this news comes out, they're like, hey, we'll pay for it. We'll pay for all your travel plans. And we'll take care of everything you need. We're going to do that for you. Tesla, Microsoft. I mean, are these people that really, do they really care? Do they really, when you have that much money, do they really care about the person working at the Piggly Wiggly or the Five and Dime or the 7-Eleven? Are there still 5 and dimes? I think it's now like 50 cents and $1. No, it is $1, right? They don't have 5 and dimes anymore. I'm sounding like I'm ancient. So there's an issue. And then I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, if it's about infertility, then there'll be some news coming out about infant supply. And guess what? Oh, will you look at that? Will you look at that? Holy macaroni, huh? What are the odds? What are the odds of that happening? Infant supply. Solutions for humanity. Thank you. God bless you too. Give us some solutions because we need it. Everybody in the chat, can you hear me okay? Is everything still going okay? How are you enjoying the show? Exactly, Seeker of Truth. How long, oh Lord? How long? Well, I think we're in that moment right now. I think we're in that moment right now, and I think that it's just going to get better for us who are seeking God. I mean, it may not be comfortable, but for the people that aren't doing so good, people that aren't living a good godly life, I do believe that it's not going to be a good thing. So the joke, let's also ban condoms and that word that starts with a P and ends with an R, and maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. Well, I love all of you too, Angel. Thank you. A little bit louder, Liz. Is that any better? Is that any better? I'm sorry if you can't hear me. Sometimes you gotta raise the sometimes you gotta raise the volume. Sometimes. I can't hear anything anyway. Who knows? So who knows? Is birth control next? Well, that's what they're saying. Contraception. Now, I'd like to point out, let's put this in spiritual terms because that's why you're here. You're here. You're here for the God stuff. Right? You're here for the horn. I already blew the horn. I almost passed out. I literally almost passed out. I had to brace myself. Never happened before, but I'm getting good at that thing. I'm getting good at that ram's horn. It's called the shofar. People are asking. It's a ram's horn that Daniel Ellis, who's awesome supporter of the channel, sent to me. I cherish it. Also cherish little things like I got somebody made this for me. And, while we're on the subject of, because we're just going to go with the flow here. We're just going to go with the flow. Take a look at this. Huh? That's me, Superman. It's me. It's a good likeness. Let me see if I can match it up. So this is a very talented young man who is on Facebook. Jason Robert Reed. He is a supporter of the channel. He's going through a hard time. His lady is not doing well, So he does these. I think he does them for he says $25 or something. He can do like a portrait for you, plus shipping, whatever. He asked. Didn't say you had to. Did this out of the kindness of his heart. He's not paying me any money. This is a gift enough, But I will say, if you were interested, Jason Robert Reed on Facebook. He does caricatures. He's talented. He's a talented guy. So, all of that aside, the day that we're in right now, there's a spiritual significance to it. So the dragon in Scripture, hey, you know what? Let me pull this up. I usually like to edit my shows and everything goes smooth, but when it's live, it's a little more free flow. So let me put this over. Hopefully I do this right this time. Okay, so this is Revelation 12. And we know that we had that sign in the heavens that took place on September 23rd, 2017, where you had that playing out. Well, since then, I've done many shows about how it seems like the book of Revelation is playing itself out, like right before our eyes. And it would bring us to a point right about now where the dragon was cast into the earth, cast out of heaven. Now, so that means that the dragon is no longer welcome in heaven, meaning the enemy is no longer welcome in heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within you. So in the kingdom of heaven, those that are in the kingdom of heaven, the dragon is no longer welcome. The liar is no longer welcome. You cast that devil out of your head every time he comes, and he's cast into the earth. Now the earth, those that aren't dwelling in heaven, those that are dwelling in the ways of the world, in the scriptures, there's a scripture that says, as my ways, as the heavens are above the earth, so are God's ways above man's. So heaven would be the way of God, the way of life, the way of truth, the way of love. And the earth would be the way of man, the way of, carnality. You follow after your sensual lusts, the wounds of Christ, if you will, sight, touch, taste, smell, feel. These wounds, these things that get us trapped into the temporal world, the temporary world, this place of the land of the dead, which Jesus called it, hell. You make them twice more the children of hell than you are them. Hell. They're already in hell. Cast into the earth. Well, see, that dragon doesn't want that child, that Christ child, that Christ in you to be born. But the day that we're in right now is when the word of their testimony is heard, that they love their lives not unto death. Because now salvation and strength and the kingdom of God and the power of his Christ, this is the day we're in. For the accuser of the brethren is cast down, which accused them day and night. You are redeemed in the Lord. You don't need to beat yourself up anymore. You move on. So we should rejoice in the heavens, Uranus, and you that dwell in heaven. But woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows his time is short. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman. That's us, the bride, which brought forth the man-child. That's us, bringing forth Christ. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as if it was a flood. And what is the dragon? He's a liar. So this would be the day that we're entering into right here. The dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Seed is Christ, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Christ. This is a big thing. This is a big deal. Because that would mean, we did the shows on the nine-tailed fox, right? The stone, the killing stone in Japan opened up. Everybody was worried about the nine-tailed fox being released. We had the leaden-sealed sarcophagus at the base of the Notre Dame Cathedral. And I said, Pandora's box is about to be opened. Here we are. The woman, the dragon's coming after her. It's very interesting. And what better thing to divide than birth? Those that want to give birth to Christ, no. So as we see a fight take place over the ability to kill Christ, because that's basically what we're talking about, spiritually speaking, that's a good thing. You will see people become more mad. You will see people become more manic. You will see people look like they're monsters because they are possessed. But perfect love casts out all fear. The truth of God can cast out these lies. Bring me to a protest. I should go to a protest and just try. Just try. Because I believe our words have power. I believe the power of Christ is not something that is going to be lost. But I do believe that because of all of this, you're going to see more and more of these churches and these places that just attacked, and probably more and more acts of violence. Why wouldn't you? The system set it up so that you would be ready for it. They showed you it was okay at the Oscars. And then they told you this is what's going to happen next to comedians. And then they showed you when the comedians were, they're priming us. Because this is the next thing. And whether it's a plan or not, doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, because there is more going on than they are letting on. It's not just about this leaked document. It's not just about that at all. It's about more. It's always been about more. So you probably saw the news about this. If those things aren't safe, then you aren't either. Threats. But what are they doing? They're showing you, and then you get enraged. It's a terrible thing. Terrible thing. Terrible thing. Like, why would they write such a horrible thing? Because they're possessed. Or because it's a big psychological operation that's being played on you. We don't know. But we know what's right, and we know what we shouldn't do and what we should do. We know what we should pay attention to and what we shouldn't. And just like I said, when I was showing you before, where I showed you the Handmaid's Tale everywhere, right? Well, this is now the thing. These handmaids showed up on Mother's Day at a mass. They did it more than just that place. They even went to like St. Patrick's. Check out this lady over here. So they were swarmed. They had cops at the door. Let me see if I can blow this up so you could just take a look at this strange woman. The way she is dressed, it is just out of control to me. Weird. And I do want to point out that that's the cover of the article. Notice who's next to that lady. It's interesting. Didn't we talk about the Pope just recently and Virgin Mary and the whole thing? Remember what they were going to do? Oh, we got to get everybody to marry the Queen of Heaven. The Babylonian Queen, we got to get everybody to wear her dress. Dorothy's dress. It's just very strange, don't you think? Very strange. It's almost like they're trying to tell you this is what's happening next. Now remember, Notre Dame Cathedral went down. They paraded the saints. They took the sculptures down. They beheaded them first, and then they paraded them around in the cranes, and they made a big deal before the cathedral burnt down. Before. Made a big deal out of this. And I, of course, said, oh, that's it. They love their lives not unto death. Perhaps that's coming. God, I hope not. But it is what it is, right? Let the Lord be true and every man a liar. Not my will, Lord, but yours. Best prayer you could pray. Not my will, Lord, but yours. Like I say, I'm not perfect, but keep me in your will. And if things get tough, I'm like, Lord, well, you have me here. If you don't want me here, help me to move out. Everything's happening for a reason, so that we learn. You even have the king meeting with Christian leaders in the U.S., warning, in Jerusalem, Christians got a problem. In Jerusalem? Wait a minute. I thought Christians and Jews, I thought they were all friends. It's not the best time right now to be in organized religion, it seems. Which is strange for sure. But the reason, I think, is pretty evident. Not many people really love God. Not that many people really want to do the right thing. Not many people are willing to forgive people that harm them. Not many people are willing to give the other cheek. There's a shortage for babies in the world. And you know what else there's a shortage for? Formula. There's a nationwide baby formula shortage. Some of you here are eating nice steak when you come by. You're getting that nice spiritual meat. Some of you, you're okay with the milk. You got enough formula here. Some of you, there's a shortage of it. Maybe you found me and you're like, well, this guy's a goofball. He's a weirdo, right? But I'm not a church. I don't have a denomination. I don't even have a religion. I got a covenant with God. That's it. I ask God to lead me and guide me, seek me. And I thank Christ because of what Christ did. That's how I know salvation. I like the Bible. I learned so much. And I feel like I was trained so that I could take these stories, these literal historical events, this poetry, these prophecies, and kind of reveal them all to all of you. Break it down for you. The ground in the world has grown very hard and dry, and someone has to come in and break up that hardened ground, the clods, the clod breaker. Jacob's a clod breaker in Scripture. Let that be me. But there's a shortage for baby formula, which means there's a shortage of great teachers out there who are teaching. Do you understand the spiritual significance? Can you fathom that perhaps there is a reason? In Hebrews 5, it says, we have many things to say, but it's hard to explain. It's like, I have so much to share with you all. I got to dumb it down a lot of times. Not like I'm so smart, but it's like, it's hard to get because you've been taught something for so long. The spirit of the story is not something people hear today. What they hear is they hear the dead letter of the word, which is actually the Bible. The literal interpretation or, what they've turned it into. Beautiful passages that are meant to inspire and encourage and share love are twisted and turned into something hateful. So back then they had this problem too. We have so much to express. We can't, but you guys you're hard of hearing. There's a shortage of milk in the world. There's a shortage of formula. You guys aren't ready. When for the time you should be teachers. This is the end time. You should be 100% sharing the love of God with others. But you still have need for one to teach you what the very beginning principles of the oracles of God are, the first principles. And there are become such as have a need of milk. You have a need. There's a need right now in the world for milk. For everyone that uses milk unskillful in the word of righteousness. He's a babe. So many babes in Christ out here. So many people in need of milk when they should be teachers. And they claim themselves to be teachers too. They won't even, I got to tell you, a lot of these, you probably watch a lot of these pastors, a lot of these Christian YouTubers, they know who I am. They watch my shows. And then they'll share things like as if, voila, they came up with them themselves. And I reach out. I say, hey, people will even say, hey, I talked to Jacob. And then I reach out. They don't get back. I never talked to him. It's very strange. There's the day that we need great teachers in the land, there's a need for milk. And there's violence. And the kingdom was taken by violence for far too long. Today's not the day for that. Steve Harvey lost all respect for Will Smith after the Oscar slap. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, because we got to continue to remind people about how an Oscar winner, King, right? He played the king in King Richard. The historical figures, of course, based on the Tennis Pro. I have a show, once again, on the Oscars and the slap and the spiritual meaning of the names and everything. But what it did was it showed people that you can be insulted. And if you're insulted or your feelings are hurt, you can smack somebody and then you can get an award. That's what they did. And then everybody then went to the, to their, the biggest podcaster in the world. And he told everybody, well, now you got to worry about comedians getting hit all the time now. Now it's going to happen all the time. Now it's going to happen all the time. Now it's going to happen all the time. Now we got to worry because now people are just going to hit people and people are just going to come up. They don't care anymore because now nobody cares anymore. Now we got to worry, right? Nonstop. That's all we're hearing. And so what happens? Self-fulfilling prophecy. Dave Chappelle, he gets attacked. And now, of course, he's more concerned. More people have to talk about this. And of course, for those people that are in, we'll say, relationships, well, you probably feel better about your relationship if you got into fights because, of course, you got this going on. Normalizing mutual abuse. Pooping on beds, cutting off fingers. Normalizing violence. Normalizing it. So strange. And yet we come to a time where it seems I just did the live stream on that Met Gala, the Gilded Age, where the wealthy, right, the Gilded Age, where they take advantage. And they were celebrating that. And then, of course, who wins? Against all odds, I'd like to point out. How many votes did Biden get again? Was it like 80 million? Against all odds, Rich Strike. Rich Strike. Whew. And guess who's in attendance? Donald Trump. 80-1 outsider. Shocks Kentucky Derby. Will there be a strike on the rich, or will the rich strike? Or will it be both? Will there be a strike on the rich? Because you got all this talk about this if I'm not alive tomorrow type thing. Got all that. Whew, so strange. So strange. Okay. I want to end this show on something that I found very strange. I'm sorry to the person who emailed me. I am sorry. I'm usually very good at crediting people. You know who you are. Thank you for doing this. So there's this thing. It's called pseudouridine. Okay? And it's like a big deal. It's a big deal. It helps in, the RNA and all that stuff. Helps it. So your body, so like say if there's a time for evolution, right? And you want to genetically engineer, there's this belief in Sumerian mythology that aliens came down here and they messed with the genome. How'd they do it? I don't know. They mass vaccinated everybody. Oh God, I hope I don't get struck for just saying that word. But that was basically the story that, they messed with the genome and then of course, you got a smarter race from the cavemen that blended with the Anunnaki, which would be like the fallen angels or the demons or the Nephilim or whatever you want to call them. But there's this idea that they messed with the genome. And then there's a time for evolution again. So where It's like, okay, now you got human 2.0, like that guy who is Schwab's best buddy, Yuval Noah Harari. He's got that show, Sapien. He's got that book, Sapien 2.0, how we're evolving. There's a big great reset going on. Some people think that maybe aliens are evolved now and they're trying to mess with things. Well, this could be a way to edit and improve upon. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I can't really understand all this. But what I do know is that this thing is critical. That word right there, pseudo-uridine, it's critical. Critical to this. Take a look at its symbol. Come on! Are you kidding me? How crazy is that? How crazy is that? What are the odds that its symbol is the same thing that we've been talking about for quite some time now? I think that that's pretty cool. And I cannot believe that I did not realize this to begin with. I think it's strange. I think it's all tied together. I think I'm happy you're here. And I'll tell you what, because it's a live show, I'm going to take some questions. And I'm going to go to bed because I'm tired. So let me come on over here. Let's take a look, see who's in the chat. Oh, let me show you something too, because I always forget to do this. Some people say, hey, where can I get the buckle up shirt? The buckle up shirt. This is Ethan's shirt. He's 10. I don't buy shirts for adults. Just wanted to point that out. If you were wondering. Just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding, but I'm kind of kidding. All right, hang on a second. Let me pull this up. Boom. There you go. Look at that. That's a store. That's a Jacob Israel store. That's the ladder. Right? Heaven and earth. God's ways above man's. You got the Uranus is plenty. You got my I am what it comes in different colors. You can get hoodies, all this stuff. In the description. In the description, you can get all that. All the links are down there. I really hope that you do subscribe to the show so that you stick around. And if you want, ask a question or two. Ask a question or two, and I'll try to do my best to answer it for you. Well, thank you, C7. Sandy asks me if I am familiar with the laws of Noah's hide. And yes, I am. Wouldn't that be a thing? Handmaid's Tale on the cover of the thumbnail. Wouldn't that be a thing? Let's hope not, huh? Do you think there will be war? Rachel is asking. And yes, I do. I do. Because we're already in one. It's pretty much going on all the time. Oh, Wendy, thank you. Wendy thinks I'm fun live. I appreciate that. When is righteous violence acceptable? Okay, so that's a good question. Oh, Madam Stamp, thank you very much. I love you as well. Glad to catch me live. I'm glad that you're here live. Thank you. Okay, so let me get back to this violence thing. Let me see if I can switch over because I think this is an important question. So, righteous violence. So, okay. No. You can defend yourself. There's no righteousness in violence because to be righteous would be to be absence of violence. It would be peace. Peace is rooted in righteousness. The kingdom of heaven doesn't have violence in it. The kingdom of heaven is righteousness, peace, and joy. Can't have the kingdom of heaven if you have violence in there, right? The violence used to try to take the kingdom of heaven by force. Can't do it. No violence allowed. Now, that doesn't mean you can't defend yourself. That doesn't mean if somebody breaks in, you can't. I mean, look, I can take care of myself. I'm not going to, I feel I would never want to harm anyone. But you can't go doing, I know I've done shows and I took a hit because people had a problem with me having a problem with the fact that, once again, that kid was used. He was used with his little, I'm going to go out there and I'm a hero now. He's got more subscribers, more YouTube views than I. Come on. And what did he do? Right? What did he do? What did he do? He's a good God-fearing Christian? Nope. Not in my opinion. Not in the world's opinion, right? But that, once again, you got to stand up for your rights. The leader of the free world saying, can't we shoot the protesters? It's in a book. It's written. I don't know if it's true. They say it's true. It's in a book. Look it up. So no. Jesus, I'll put this one to bed right now. Jesus said the time now, and that would be the time that we're in as well, right now. Sell your cloak. Go buy yourself a sword, right? That word really means knife. Doesn't mean sword. And it was actually more like a butcher's knife or a knife that you would take into the woods. Like you could say, like, go get yourself army knives. We're going to go on the run. You're going to need a knife. You have a knife and you have flint. You know, you're good to go in the wilderness. They knew how to live out there. They could take things. They could fish. They had 2 knives between them. We have 2, Master. He says that's enough. That if it was all about, I like to point this out. If it was all about, if it was all about them, taking arms to go battle people, he probably would have said, get some more. There's 12 of you here. No, it was a knife that was used for food, for cutting meat. It wasn't a sword. Look it up. It's a knife that's used for cutting meat. But people use that as an excuse to justify violence, right? And they say, oh, Jesus said, go get a sword. Now's the time to get armed, right? No, he didn't say that, because if you follow that chapter out, just a couple of paragraphs later, we find out that when one of the centurions came for him, he was attacked and he got his ear lopped off. And what did Jesus do? What did Yahshua do? Did he say, good for you, you got him good. Yeah, that's why I told you to go sell that cloak. Now come on. No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. He rebuked them. He said, if you live by violence, you're going to die a violent death. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And then he restored the hearing of it. Now, that goes for spiritual knives too, and spiritual spears and things. Like, you can attack somebody with your words and spiritually cut off their hearing. Keep them from hearing the wonderful works of God, the love of God. Jesus restored that by showing love, by showing mercy, by showing truth, even when he was being persecuted. That's how the war was won, right? No greater love than a man lays down his life for another. And what do? They turn it into go to war. You see, they turn everything on its head. They turn everything on its head. Oh, well, Jesus went into the temple and he had the cord of, and he was casting everybody out and all that. We're the temple. He released all the sacrifices. He let all the animals go. No more the money changers. They weren't welcome in the kingdom of God anymore. It's a picture of what happens within. And of course, I'm sure he probably had a bad day. Probably literally did that too, right? I'm sure, like, I've lost my temper. I've done dumb things too, but symbolically and spiritually, it holds true, and there's a great meaning for it. All right, so let's go. Let's take another question. Hopefully that helped you. Let's see if we have any more here. Thank you, Cleep. I'm grateful too. I don't mind if you don't have any more questions either. I'm very tired. My voice is shot. Lower class citizen says, if you're looking outside of yourself, you are deceived. That's true. That's true. You can't be looking outside of yourself. I wish I remembered what that other question was. Thank you, Jana Northern. That was very nice of you. I appreciate it. Soul Journey. Wow. First time after following Jacob for several years, I make a live vid. Very nice. And hey, first time, and I say hi to you when we see each other. How cool is that? Rock Desert says, don't be a communist snowflake. Hey, you know what a snowflake really is? You want to know what a snowflake is? It's funny. Snowflake on Twitter, it's a unique identifier. Remember the snowflakes at the Olympics? I have shows about this. It's a unique identifier. It's an ID. It's a digital ID, a snowflake. You see snowflakes everywhere. There's more to it. There's more to the snowflake. All right, listen, I'm going to go. All right, I'm talking about snowflakes now. I love each and every one of you. I'm so grateful for you. I'm hoping that this live show was well done. Oh, you know what? I said I was going to call. I said I was going to try to call. Let's try to call some people and do something. Just see if anybody answers. Who thinks I should call Adam? He's busy right now. I'm sure he's getting ready for his show. Don't forget his show's tonight. I think it's tonight. I don't know. I'm going to give him a ring. Let's see if he answers. I'll put him on speaker.
Please leave your message.
No. He's getting ready for his show. Let's try Alex. Let's get him on the show. I like to surprise people. He had dental work done, so this should be funny. I'm going to call Derek next. Derek always answers my calls too, but he's got big things going on. He's got big things going on. Alex is probably putting his show together too. We're going to be doing a show together, me and the Donut, very shortly. We almost did it today, but we both forgot we had stuff going on. I'm getting my bathroom redone the cheap way. I'm going to get like an insert. It doesn't cost that much, but it's still more than I want to spend. And let's see if we can get Derek on the phone. Let's see if we can call him. He's a nice guy. I hope you subscribe to his channel too. Him and Malia are just so cool. Let's see. He knows all about those laws of the hide, whatever. I'm not into any of that stuff. I try to just, some things just get too dark for me. Everybody's busy today. That's all right. You know what? I'll be on his show in no time. We'll talk there. All right, everybody. I love you so much. Thank you. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Hook up with me on Twitter because I do a lot. I'm on Twitter a lot, but I'm also on Facebook. There's a link for Facebook. There's a link for Twitter. I even have a TikTok. I don't do that as much. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Next time, it will not be a live stream. It'll be my normal show because these are... I always worry that I'm going to say something silly, I always worry that things are going to go off. All right, bye, everybody. Love you.